After all these years, the thing I still struggle with the most is not what they did to me, it's why. I don't understand their purpose. They don't seem evil. They don't seem like they're here to destroy us. They don't seem interested in conquering Earth. But they also don't seem like they're here to save us. They're observers. That's the best way I can describe them. Like scientists studying an animal species. The closest comparison I can make is humans studying dolphins. We don't study dolphins because we want to hurt them. We don't study them because we want to help them become something else. We study them because they interest us. That's what I think they're doing with humanity. At least, that's what I hope. They're fascinated by everything about humanity. Our culture, our history, our behaviour. They ask questions about things that seem ordinary to us. Things that we don't even think about. They've asked me about money. They've asked me about gold. But it never seemed like they wanted those things. They weren't asking where they could find gold. They weren't asking how to take it. They seemed more like they were trying to understand why we value it. They don't appear to need anything from us. They don't need our water. They don't need our trees. They don't need diamonds or resources. They don't need oxygen. They don't seem to eat. And they don't eat humans. I've never seen anything that suggests that they want to breed with us or create some kind of human-alien hybrid. A lot of the stories people tell online sound like science fiction. A lot of them sound like they came straight from the movies. This isn't what I've experienced. Their language is impossible for me to understand. It doesn't sound like words. It sounds like almost like a vibration, a sound. I don't believe humans will ever understand their language. Not because we aren't intelligent, but because it's completely different from ours. The strange thing is, they understand us. They can understand what we say, but they can't read our thoughts. I'm certain of that. They can put thoughts in our minds, words, ideas, images, almost like they're sending that information directly, but they can't hear what we're thinking. I've thought things while around them that I would never say out loud. Things that were angry, things that were inappropriate, things that were just thoughts, and they never reached them. If they could read minds, they would know. They don't. One of the strangest things they've shown interest in is our music. They actually like some of it. Their favourite, from what I've seen, is bluegrass. They love it. Especially one particular African instrument. The one that looks like a gourd with 13 strings. They absolutely love it. They're fascinated by it, but they hate horns. Trumpets especially. They can't stand them. They dislike classical music and jazz. I've always wondered if it's because trumpets sound similar to their own language. That's only a feeling I have. I've never been able to directly ask them. One of the biggest things they showed me was footage. Real footage. At least, that's what it appeared to be. They have recordings of humanity going back thousands of years. They show me things I had only ever read about, and things I'd never heard of. They showed me Neanderthals, Cro-Magnons. They showed me other human-like species, other versions of us. The thing that stood out was how similar they were to modern humans. The Cro-Magnons especially. They looked like us. There was far less variation between them compared to humans today. They weren't some completely different creature. They were us, or close enough. They showed me footage of the pyramids being built. That's something people always ask me about. They want to know if aliens built them. They didn't. Humans built them. The aliens didn't create our ancient monuments. They only watched. What I saw was different from the way people had imagined it. They weren't just slaves dragging huge stones around. There was a whole community there, a town. The workers lived nearby. There was music, there was singing. At night there were celebrations, dancing, bonfires. It didn't look like a place of suffering. The stone blocks came from a river. I originally said the Amazon, but I meant the Nile. The river came right up close to where they were building. Maybe the river moved. Maybe there was a canal. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I don't know how they were built, but I remember one thing clearly. The way people picture the pyramids being built is completely wrong. People imagine workers pushing blocks up ramps around the outside. That wasn't what I saw. The blocks went up inside the pyramids. I don't know if they use internal ramps. I don't know if they use some kind of lifting system. I don't know. But they went through the inside. The most incredible thing they showed me wasn't Egypt. It was somewhere else. Somewhere in Europe. Or possibly Russia. I'm not completely sure. It looked like somewhere with forests. Trees everywhere. The kind of landscape you'd expect in Russia or Canada. The structure was enormous. Bigger than anything I've seen. It wasn't a pyramid. It was a massive complex. There were huge stone buildings. Some were square. Some were pyramid shaped. Some were circular structures with open spaces in the middle, almost like gardens. The walls were held together by stone arches. It was beautiful. The closest comparison I can make is a giant ancient city. A place that should have been famous. But I've never heard of it. I've never seen anything like it. They didn't show me the construction of that place, only the finished complex. I don't know where it was. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe it was buried. Maybe it was destroyed. Maybe it's hidden somewhere beneath forests or modern cities. But I hope someone finds it one day. Because if that place exists, it could change everything. From what I've seen, they've been coming here for a very long time. At least 10 or 20,000 years, maybe longer. They have recordings of humanity throughout history. They show me people from different periods, different cultures, different languages. They show me humans speaking languages I couldn't understand. Even English from a few hundred years ago sounded strange. People forget how much language changes. I can barely understand some modern accents, so trying to understand someone from 100 years ago, impossible. They show me these recordings and ask me questions, but eventually I told them something. They probably knew more about history than I did. I'm not the only person this has happened to. I know 3 other people who have been taken regularly. We've spoken about our experiences, we've compared stories, and what we've noticed is that a lot of the stories online don't match what we've experienced. A lot of them are about extreme trauma, about horrifying experiments, about being attacked. That's not what happened to us. It's strange, it's terrifying, but it isn't like a nightmare. Some people may genuinely believe those things happened to them. Some people may have experienced something completely different, but I think a lot of the stories are either exaggerated or people are remembering something through fear. The question everyone keeps asking is the same. Why are they here? And the truth is, I don't know. That's the part that bothers me more than anything. People assume that if someone has been taken for years, they must know answers. They must know why. They must know what's coming. But I don't. I'm just someone that they chose to observe. I don't know their plan. I don't know their purpose. I don't know what they want from humanity. And that uncertainty is the hardest part. The date. They told me something repeatedly. Something that has stayed with me since the beginning. They said that their relationship with Earth would change in 2021. They were very specific. July. The 8th or the 18th. That's the closest I can get. The problem is their pronunciation. They don't speak like us. Their voices make certain sounds difficult to understand. Their number sounded like 80. It could be 8, it could be 18. I don't know. They weren't trying to scare me. They weren't warning me. They spoke about it like it was simply a fact. Like something that was going to happen. I assume it's connected to something like a planet alignment or some kind of astronomical event. Something that has to happen at a specific time. Like how humans can only launch spacecraft during certain windows because of gravity and certain conditions. But I'm not a physicist. I don't understand the science behind it. What will happen in 2021? I don't know. That's the honest answer. They didn't explain exactly what would happen. They said their program would change. That was the word I would use, their program. I don't know if that means they'll land, if they'll reveal themselves, if they'll begin living here, if they simply change the way they interact with us. I don't know. They don't seem like they're coming to destroy us. They don't seem like they want to enslave us. But I also don't think that they're coming to save us. They aren't gods. They aren't our creators. They're just something far more advanced than us. Are they hiding from the government? People ask about a cover-up. I don't know if there is one. I've never seen evidence of it. I've never been taken anywhere and met world leaders. I've never sat down with presidents. I've never had tea with Jimmy Carter. This isn't what happens up there. I don't even know if governments truly understand what's happening. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But even this conversation proves something. People don't handle this information well. Look at how many people reacted to hearing just a story. Imagine if humanity was forced to accept that something else is out there. Something smarter than us. Something that isn't God. Something that has been watching us for thousands of years. A lot of people wouldn't be able to accept it. Maybe that's why nothing has been revealed. Not because something isn't hiding the truth, but because people aren't ready for it. One strange thing I've never understood is the salt. Every time I'm there, they offer me salt. They present it like it's important, like a gift. I don't know why. Maybe they think humans value salt. Maybe they think I value it. Maybe they've misunderstood something about our culture. I usually smile, I take a little, and that's it. It's strange because they understand so much about us. But then sometimes they completely misunderstand something simple. It reminds me that despite everything they know, they don't truly understand being human. I understand why people don't believe me. If I'd have never experienced this myself, I probably wouldn't believe it either. That's why I didn't use my real account. That's why I stayed anonymous. People are afraid of things they don't understand. And honestly, I'm not even afraid of them. I'm afraid of people. I'm afraid of being labelled crazy. I'm afraid of losing everything because people think I'm making this up. That's why I've waited so long. That's why I'm still hesitant. But eventually I thought, what does it matter? If I'm telling the truth, people will believe it when they see it. If I'm wrong, then nothing changes. The last time they took me was about 3 weeks before I wrote everything down. I believe I'll go again, probably in a couple of years, but after 2021, I don't know. Everything is supposed to change. I don't know whether it means everyone will know about them. I don't know whether it means something else entirely. I just know what they told me, July 8th or July 18th. After all these years, I don't think they're evil. I don't think they're here to wipe us out. I don't think they're here to take our resources. They've never shown any interest in gold. They've never asked where our valuable materials are. They've never shown me a weapon, at least not one I recognised. I think they're researchers, maybe like university students studying something fascinating. Maybe they come here and report back what they learn. Maybe we're their experiment. Maybe we're their curiosity. I don't know. And what scares me, not knowing. People ask me if I'm afraid of what happens next. The truth, I don't know if I should be. Maybe something incredible happens. Maybe humanity finally learns we aren't alone. Maybe everything changes. Or maybe nothing happens at all. But I know one thing. They've been here for a very long time. They've watched us grow. They've watched civilizations rise and fall. They've watched humanity change. And whatever their reason is, they're not finished watching yet. If this story kept you listening until the end, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. We release new videos twice a week, Thursdays and Sundays, between 1800 and 2000 BST. And before you go, the truth is often scarier than fiction.